Hello everybody, we're going to try to walk through how to use Steve's Factory Manager to automate your Arcane Infusion. Big shout out to average GregTech player who I originally saw the solution to this from, because I didn't know anything about Steve's Factory Manager until literally putting this together, but it's actually not that bad. It's actually not that hard. First thing you need all of your pedestals, Arcane Infusion setup, basic stuff. You need an Infusion Claw with a wand. You can't put a scepter in this, you need a wand. You're going to need some world accelerators as well, because this setup actually needs to be sped up to a certain degree. The actual crafting process needs to be sped up in order for SFM to work correctly with this. What will happen if you don't have world accelerators is it will actually grab the final item prematurely. So it'll be the old thing that's in the middle pedestal that's grabbed out before it actually becomes a new thing. It's like a 1 or 2 tick probably like differential or something like that the world accelerators just help solve. And honestly, you want these for this setup anyway. Like you're gonna want, like we were just using MV right now, which is sufficient. But you will want like, you know, HV, EV. You will want to, you know, upgrade this later. We have a little CentiV setup. If you don't know how to do this, you just take a highly energized node that, or like a node that has like a lot of aspects in it, and you put it between a node stabilizer and a transducer. And then you can't see this, but you actually like just put a block of redstone above it to actually start the process of stabilizing it. And then once you stabilize it, all you need are these V relays, and you can actually like use them, and they'll automatically, the first V relay will automatically pick up from the aura node if it's within a certain distance. And then you can come down here to the Infusion Claw, and this will keep this full of V all the time, which you do need. What's up, Azuna? So, the meat and potatoes, chat. Meat and potatoes. I'm going to show you something real quick, first of all. Are these redstone emitters from Steve's Factory Manager. You need this in order to be able to give a redstone signal to the Infusion Claw for the point at which the craft is ready to start. So obviously you don't want to set a redstone signal until everything's placed and ready to go. So we put that there. We're going to be able to communicate with this with the SFM interface in just a bit. And then redstone emitters also for the world accelerators, because you know what? You don't want these on all the time. So you just set a machine controller cover on the same side as the redstone emitter and enable with redstone, and it's going to work out perfectly. Now let me come down here and see if I can decipher. Again, I would refer you to the other video by average GregTech player as well if you want more information about this. But basically, you create a trigger to sort of like tell the system, hey, time to start working. And you can just set this to like any amount. 1 second. I don't know how bad this is for TPS. You might want to keep an eye on this, but basically it just tries to do this whole thing every 1 second. And what's going to happen is it's going to try to, via this inventory cable, detect if there's anything in this compressed chest. If there are items ready to go, so like this is basically where you drop off your items for the craft. And so that's why we have an Arcane Infusion ME interface here, pointed toward the chest. Also cable connected to the ME interface because you want to put the item here when it's all done. But then what happens is make a condition. You make a condition with where is it? Yeah, it's this 4th button right here. And you're able to like look at all the inventories that any of the Steve's Factory Manager inventory cable is connected to. So basically what we have is we're looking at all of these pedestals, right? And if we detect anything at all, which you do by just placing a dummy item here, which you can then right click and you can say match all. And then when you have that set, then you're able to like, it's basically like, hey, is there any item here whatsoever? And that's basically how you do that. It doesn't have to be dirt, it could be anything. By the way, if you're enjoying the content and you want more GTNH, please like the video and subscribe. And also, come watch me and my wife Kat stream GTNH every Monday through Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern. We're on a streaming channel called catscozygames, and we're on all the streaming sites, Twitch, YouTube, and Kick. Hope to see y'all there. And without further ado, back to the video. So, the condition items on altar. If false, or I guess if true first, so you got true or false on here. If true, then you do a condition check all but mid. So basically you check like, okay, are there any items like on the surrounding pedestals? And if there aren't, then what has happened is the craft is basically completed, right? Because you just had the item on the pedestal in the middle left over. What's up, Blade? How's it going?
Blade.
Hope you had a good stream. What you do then is you turn off the redstone emitter, claw off, like this, This is, by the way, chat for anybody just joining, we are going over how to use Steve's Factory Manager for Arcane Infusion. So what's up? Basically, you find the redstone emitter that you placed, and then you usually want strong power, and then that will turn the claw off, so that that doesn't have a redstone, you know, pointing at it all the time. And then also, if the check is false, it means that the craft is complete, basically. So then what you want is you want these emitters that are on the world accelerators. You want them to go to redstone strength 0. So you want those to turn back off. And then once you do that, you create input. See these on the left and right? This is how you sort of like transport items around in the system. So you create input, and then you're going to select the middle pedestal. And you can label all these. I'll show you all how you can label all these in just a second. Although they don't look labeled right now. Actually, I'm not even sure what happened with that. Okay, weird. Well, I'll show you all how to label them in just a second. But basically, you take the input, and then you take the output, and then you point it toward the ME interface, because that's where the finished product needs to go, right? And then the other thing is, if there are not items on the altar, then what you want to do is you want to like see if there's like items like ready to go inside of the inventory, the compressed chest. This is where the input into the entire system, where we're getting all the items. And so if that is true, then we have this whole ass, like, what is this called? Like a command group. You can create a command group, and basically you click down here, and this is sort of like where you can embed a bunch of stuff. So we put node here for like basically item input and output. You can actually label these input node or output node. And so this is just like a whole like subgroup. And basically what you do is you point the input at the chest itself. That's where you're getting all the items. And then each of these outputs, unfortunately, you do have to assign each and every single one of them. The first one is going to want to go on the middle pedestal. And then every subsequent one is going to sort of like want to go in like a what do you call it when things are like, you know, mirrored with each other? So you basically like select the pedestals, like maybe the north one, then the south one, then the east one, then the west one, then the diagonal ones, and then, you know, et cetera, et cetera. Until you've like labeled all of your pedestals and found every single one of them for like the surrounding items. And then you put it into this output node, and then that's that whole group. That's that whole group right here. And then whenever that's done, then you want to turn the claw on. So that's when you turn on your redstone emitters, not just the claw actually, but all 3 redstone emitters. So the 2 redstone emitters that are also for the world accelerator. And that's what you do there. And again, the problem that we had was when we didn't have the world accelerators, the craft was coming out too soon. It would like just look like it barely completed, but it would like do that little explosion thing, and we wouldn't get the final craft. And then once we put the just MV world accelerators here, we were able to make that work. Oh, I did want to show one thing, which was the labeling. You make this thing. It's called a factory labeler. And so what you're able to do is you can right click in the air, and you can basically like type in whatever you want. So like I labeled a bunch of these surrounding pillars, like 1, 2, 3, 4, sort of in order. And then you are like, what was I doing for this one? Middle. And then you left click the arcane pedestal. And then in the chat it says label set as middle. So that when you actually come down here to like look at the stuff in the inventories, you can actually type in middle, and boom, there it is. All labeled. So you don't have to like, and you can do that with the redstone emitters as well. So you don't really have to like, you know, guess where a thing is, or like just rely on coordinates. Now this, I will say that the server did a weird thing. The server did a weird thing apparently, like between when I shut it off last and came back. I did have all these things labeled, and they're not labeled anymore. So I had the emitters labeled, I had all the pedestals. Yeah, so I don't know if that's normal behavior in this version of GTNH or what's going on with that, but I guess, you know, hopefully just once you set it up, you just don't have to touch it again, right? And so everything is assigned to the correct coordinates.